Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review. Solid episode of NXT tonight. We got two more first round matchups for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We got Sabatelli and Moss versus Sanity. We got the Street Profits versus Heavy Machinery. And as far as the heavyweight division goes, we had our contract signing between Aleister Black and Andrade Cien Almas, which went a bit differently than I expected it would. And a really fun United Kingdom Championship match between Pete Dunne and Adam Cole, baby! That ended in complete disarray. So I enjoyed it on the whole. Ashton, what did you think of it?
Absolutely, yeah. This was a fun episode. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch certain segments due to other things going on in the house. And John was just playing clutch as hell because he had NXT up and he had a third eye somehow or another on it while we were interviewing Rojan to Joseph the last 15 minutes or so of that interview. So massive props to John for being able to watch those first 15 minutes and just really have the mindset of, no, we're not pushing it back. We're doing it when we planned on doing it. And I got this. And you got this, John.
Well, that's because we're the best wrestling podcast on the web today. That's how we do it. So I'm going to get right into our first segment. Heat of the night. Partner, if anything, I have a lot more positives to say than negatives. I got no heats of the night tonight. I'm particularly looking forward to celebrating the women's division here in a few moments. But before we get into any of that, what about you? Do you have any heats of the night or nitpicks?
I have a nitpick.
Okay, interesting. What's your nitpick?
Why is Aleister Black cracking short jokes?
Here's the thing. It's funny that you felt the need to nitpick that. I didn't think it was, I didn't feel the need to roll my eyes. And if anything, I actually really liked how Aleister came off here. Like, just very quickly. Johnny, and I don't say this in a bad way, I think that's what makes him such a great babyface, but he's like a very emotional guy. Like, he wears his rebel heart, if you will, on his sleeve. And Aleister, like, I love that Zelina does the same trash talk that we've been so used to with Johnny Gargano, but Aleister, because he has such a completely different temperament, like, it doesn't get to him. And if anything, he got to Zelina, which is why I didn't mind the short jokes, because it's almost like he's flipping the script on her. Like, she's normally the one with the mouth. And not only is he unfazed by it, but he's even, like, making her, like, what do I have to do to crack this guy? Like, what is it going to take to get to him? Because obviously with Johnny, it was the DIY stuff. But Aleister, like, he has no trigger, more or less. And
you know what? The way that you phrase that, I rescind my nitpick. You're right. I'm doing too much looking for negatives, and I found one that probably shouldn't have been there. So, yeah. And I think really what would have been my nitpick is if Almas would have been there, but Aleister doesn't really have any reason to take Zelina seriously, so he didn't. So that makes sense.
Yeah, dude, I loved it. I love too that, like, she's like, sign it right now. Sign it right now if you want to. And it's just like, not only does he,
and then when he does sign it, she says, you just made the worst mistake of your life.
It's like she keeps pushing it, but he keeps meeting her where she's at. Yeah. And the smirk he has on his face, like, and I love Zelina, so I don't mean to call her this, just in the voice of Aleister, just like, bitch, please. Like, you have no idea the world you're stepping into. Like, you're trying to, and then he walks off. And see, here's where they get away with it. And you actually said it for me. It's Zelina out there, not Andrade. Because if Andrade was out there, I'm going to be truthful. And yeah, maybe it would have been colored by bias a little bit. It would have been a heat of the night for me, because what is one old school mentality I have? You never want to bury your opposition because, you know, if you beat them, what does that make you? So if Aleister would have treated Andrade the same way, well, it's like, well, are you even taking seriously that this is the NXT championship? But, like, Andrade was already so disrespectful to Aleister, which he should be because he's the heel, that, like, Aleister's just going to let it all roll off his back because he knows in New Orleans it's just him and Andrade, nothing but 20 pounds of gold between them in New Orleans, and I love it. This is actually my favorite contract signing NXT has done in a while, if I'm being truthful. I just felt so good about this episode tonight, and this was really good.
All right, let's get into it.
All right, let's get into our NXT review. And we open up another first-round match for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, Sabatelli and Moss versus Sanity. Obviously, the story is, do Sabatelli and Moss have it together?
Nope.
Very early. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ashton, did you say something?
Yeah, I said nope.
Yeah, no, they do not. No, they do not. Moss, very early on, was taking it to Alexander Wolf. He took him down at one point, and Tino was like, tag me in, tag me in. And, being Ted Cruz's bastard child, he's like, well, I don't really care for regulations. I'd rather just do this on my own, but all right. And he tags in Tino. And on a more serious note, Tino actually got a really good-looking drop kick on Alexander Wolf at one point. And, Tino's definitely got that athleticism. If I'm being honest, I see more upside in terms of like a long-term project in Tino than I do Riddick. And I would rather invest in Tino personally. Plus, if I'm thinking in the WWE mentality, I think Tino is more like that star look that they look for. Like, honestly, if I were to bring him up, I'd make him another member of the Miztourage personally, because he almost looks like an Alex Riley 2.0 in some ways to me.
Oh, God, you're right. He does have kind of that similar face and hairstyle.
Yeah, like the facial structure and shit, right?
Yeah. Oh, my God. The fact that you are that spot on is kind of freaky to me.
And, they did get one cool double team where, like, Riddick Moss does, like, a shoulder thrust in the corner to Wolf, and then Tino comes in with the forearm in the corner. So it seems like the cohesion's there, but it does break down. Eric Young gets the tag. He starts firing on all cylinders. He looks like he's about to pin Tino after a top rope elbow drop, but Riddick Moss pulls Eric Young out. So I'm like, oh, are we actually going to go with the upset here? But then Nikki Cross comes off the apron, diving crossbody onto Riddick Moss, and then Tino back in the ring with Sanity. Sanity gets their double team, back suplex position with Wolf, and Eric Young's going to go off the top rope with the neck breaker. They get that double team move. They pin Sabatelli. They advance. Moss is looking on upset, like, how could this have happened? And yeah, they are officially out of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Ashton, again, I know you said you missed the first little bit of NXT, so I'm guessing you're not really going to have much to add here.
No, yeah, I wasn't able to watch this, unfortunately. So I definitely think the right team went over, even if I'm not the biggest fan of either team. And yeah, I guess we can move on. I think what was next was our women's match, right? Did we have anything in between the two first matches?
No, we did not. Not that I saw anyway. And I thought I paid. Actually, no, we did. Because we had Ciampa doing his thing. And dude, like, holy shit. So here's the thing. Praising Ciampa's performance again, he's generating massive amounts of heat. But I don't want to linger on this too much because really everything that we could have said that we said last week, you could do a copy paste, right? Because really nothing new happened here. The one thing I want to point out, though, that like Gargano emoji type logo that he has.
Yeah,
so
like the one with the one closed
signs
eye
with that logo on it, dude. It was insane.
Yeah, we actually, here's a fun fact. That logo is an emoji in our Discord that you can use by putting Gargano in between two colons.
That's incredible. That's absolutely amazing. And yeah, like I just couldn't believe how many fan signs there were. But yeah, guys, this is another excellent segment. If it seems like I'm breezing past it, it's because, again, there really wasn't that much of a difference between this one and the one last week, except this one was a bit shorter. So really the only difference was time. Ciampa's still generating amazing heat. Gargano's still insanely over. I feel like the crowd was more receptive to Gargano this time than last week, where we got a few hecklers, which was also a positive. And yeah, just another great segment, dude. Nothing more I can say than that.
Yes, I love it. Great. I want to go back and watch this segment then. But then we did get Dakota Kai versus Lacey Evans. And again, I think this is the last segment that I was completely unable to even see a little bit of. So, John, I'm going to let you handle this.
Oh, dude, I'm so happy for your girl, Dakota Kai. And maybe it's the Johnny Goodwill in me, because when have I ever supported people that aren't me? But this
Kyrie?
is like, what'd you say?
Kyrie.
Well, yeah, Kyrie. But I mean in the more intimate circle. But regardless, Lacey Evans, she actually does go for the arm, which I thought was a good bit of psychology. But this really felt like a blink and you miss it match, because I feel like Lacey was going to do something else to the arm. Because I will say, even though I watched far more of NXT than you did, because I did want to be that third eye, I did kind of check back because I didn't want to miss any cues. So at one point, Lacey must have been going for something with the arm. Dakota Kai gets her in a schoolboy, and she wins. So she rolls her up and she wins. Dakota Kai went, which is amazing. I'm like, yes, push Dakota Kai, because I know you love her. And I mean, she's cool with me too. I don't hate her or anything. And I'm like, get diversity in the women's division, right? So Then Shayna's music hits, and then I'm like, oh shit, gonna break that arm again. And so Shayna comes out, they have a stare down, but then Ember Moon's music hits. And I know you were just saying recently that you missed Ember Moon, and we were talking over Rocket League, was like the last time we saw her, the Women's Rumble. So she finally returns. She confronts Shayna, and she says, more or less, Shayna, what you started, I'm going to finish at TakeOver New Orleans. So challenge accepted. We know we're getting the women's championship match. They have a back and forth. And here's the crazy thing. The best thing about this to me wasn't even the two of them. It was Dakota Kai, because at one point, Ember goes to the top rope, presumably to go for Total Eclipse. Shayna cuts her off at the pass. She gets a double wrist lock hold on the arm, on the bad arm, and it's on the top rope, so she's got the leverage, and she's working over the arm. We think, oh, she's going to break the arm again or whatever. Dakota Kai comes out of nowhere with her Kaio kick, which, if I'm not mistaken, that's the name you suggested she call it on Twitter, correct?
Yes, that's my suggested name.
And I think she liked it, and even if she didn't, I like it. My opinion's the only one that matters. So she...
Do you want to know who disagrees with you, John?
Who?
Marks!
That's right. Oh, he did it. He did the fucking thing. And Dakota Kai did the fucking thing because, dude, she Kaio kicked Shayna Baszler's head off. I lose it because here's the thing. I like Ember. I've been fair in my criticism, I think. I'm not like, I don't splooge over her like Johnny Mundo or even Adam Cole. But like, I do like her. But God, I think we needed this. Honestly, dude, and I want your thoughts on this because you are the Dakota Kai fan, but I think unlike me, you're better at being less biased. So big compliment to you. After that, after Dakota actually taking it to Shayna Baszler, I would almost want this to be a triple threat. But I think they need their rematch, though, at the same time, so I'm torn. What do you think about it?
I'm expecting it to be one-on-one, but I'm also expecting Shayna to win and for Dakota to be her first challenger afterwards.
I can't wait for that, dude. Dakota Kai, like, because here's the thing. Oh, and by the way, just to wrap up the segment, because I really wanted to talk about Dakota Kai with you, Ember does hit the Total Eclipse with one arm. And she stands over Shayna, and she's got the intensity, and I loved it. Dakota Kai, though, like, let's just talk about that, because that Kaio kick to the head, I loved it. I feel like if you give Dakota Kai, because I really can't rate her speaking ability. The little bit I've heard her speak, she's okay. I don't know how she is with an extended promo, but I feel like she could be, I don't want to say like a female Johnny Gargano necessarily, but I feel like she could be a really great scrapper type character. Almost like maybe a Sami Zayn babyface would be more apropos, because I just feel like she'll be the type in a Shayna feud that will just keep fighting. And you've just got to, like, rip the heart out of her chest if you want to beat her. And I really hope that's where they're going with it. Because I think we need a new kind of babyface. Because, look, Kairi's amazing. You know I adore her. Ember's great. But I don't think either one of them fill that underdog mold. And I don't even really know if Candice will. So I really want, because you're the bigger Dakota Kai fan, what do you see? Like, what fixture, what role does she play in the women's division to you?
Dakota Kai?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point right now, or what can she be?
Well, I mean, I guess both, because I really just wanted to explore that with you. Like, do you agree with me that she has potential to be that really great, like, scrapper type baby face, or like long term, where do you see her in the division?
Let me put it this way. Right now, it really, like, she's too fresh to really even have a role, although I'm hoping that she can connect to the point that she does get ingratiated to the fan base and that they start to like her to the point that they start like really getting behind her, and she ends up with the NXT Women's Championship match at whatever takeover happens between New Orleans and Brooklyn 4, I think. But I think her ceiling in NXT is NXT Bayley, and her ceiling in WWE is higher than Bayley's.
I love it. I think that's what I was trying to articulate it, but you did it so much better than I did. Because, yeah, I agree 1,000%. You know, it's funny. Like, we watched the Mae Young Classic. I mean, for God's sakes, we covered it. But I feel like I really saw something in just that little bit that Dakota Kai did. And, again, that Kaio kick spot. Maybe because it was cool seeing her give a receipt to Shayna. You know what I mean? And then seeing that, it's like, holy shit, this feud could be really amazing. Like, if they put their foot on the gas, like, because just knowing that Dakota Kai can do it, it's just like, damn, I'm in on this. So yeah, I don't know. It's not me getting tired of Ember Shayna. You know what I think it is, in all honesty? I feel like we should already be underway with the Shayna Baszler title reign. Just coming from my perspective. So I'm a little bit salty that we're still dealing with Ember as champion, which is strange because I do like her. I just feel like
the thing though is, like, at the same time, we've seen Shayna multiple times since TakeOver Philly, and I don't feel like we've seen Ember much, if at all. And it really does feel almost like Ember's already been called up and they're just waiting to debut her on the main roster because she just hasn't been in NXT much, if at all. And Shayna's been all over the product. So I almost feel like we wanted them to put the title on Shayna with foresight going into the show. And I think with hindsight, it becomes an even worse decision that they didn't.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. And I just really, because I'll be truthful, out of all this segment we watched tonight on NXT, like, I think the contract signing was my favorite because you know that I came in with such enthusiasm and such like a vantage point that I got you to rescind your nitpick. But I feel like this was actually, like, I wouldn't even say come in second. I would say 1A, 1B. I love this because the women's division needs somebody like Dakota Kai. Yeah. And seeing that little bit she did, I'm like, you know what? I really can't wait till we get past Ember Moon and we can focus on Dakota Kai because this is what the Mae Young Classic was supposed to do. Like, these women were supposed to be the focus. I want that new era of the women's division. And also, speaking of women's division, another act that I can't wait to see again is the Iconic Duo. That feels like a long time too, for whatever reason.
There are rumored reasons, but we won't get into that now.
But yeah, man, I really wanted to go out of my way to talk this segment up because this is my favorite segment of the ones that you didn't catch originally because you were tied up. Well, we were tied up, and then you got tied up with a little bit more stuff. But yeah, Dakota Kai, man, and Shayna Baszler, that's going to be a feud that I'm going to be hooked on. Great stuff here. And we know, just bringing it all back, that Ember Shayna is going to happen for TakeOver New Orleans. Should be a great championship bout.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, I'm trying to remember. I feel like after this, we got our second Dusty Classic match of the night, right?
Yeah, Heavy Machinery versus Street Profits.
Yeah, and man, I'm really in this match, especially in like the Black Cup spot where Otis drank from the cup and then he like powered up and he threw it up in the air and then lariat to Montez while he was looking up. For some reason, I get a Mick Foley vibe from Otis Dozovic. And I know that that's the weirdest, most random comparison, but he's like the stocky, out of shape looking dude who is just entertaining as hell and willing to be comedic and just has that instant connection with the crowd that is really, really rare that I think he possesses.
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely got that charisma about him where he doesn't have to force it. Like I feel like I could say about so many performers, not just in WWE,
hell,
but in
even
the wrestling
in this match
today
alone, Montez Ford feels like he's forcing it.
Yeah, and see, like, God, I know this isn't the time for a rant, and I don't want to go on one. But then again, it is our podcast. When is it never time for a rant?
I know. Like, when else are we going to talk about it?
Yeah, like, I look at Montez Ford, dude. It's not even like an angry, hateful rant, like, all of you go to hell. I'm really into my Vince impression now, apparently. And, like, I like Montez Ford. In fact, I could even say on some level, I really like Montez Ford. Let me just say right now, that frog splash, I love that that's his finisher because I remember reading Eddie's book. Like, he got it from Art Barr, and then he took it from Art. I feel like that is a legitimate frog splash. Like, beautiful. I love it. I want him as a singles act, and I want him not only to tone it down, I want him to be that smug heel. We keep going back to the power couple, dude. I want it. I want
Montez Ford as a heel, even if it's not necessarily with Bianca Belair. I just want him to be that smug dick that we know he can be. Because
you know something, I will be the first to admit that I am reaching here, right? But I feel like it's important that I say that because I know what I'm about to say next will be like, come on, John, don't be stupid. But, like, I saw that frog splash, and I see the glimpses of athleticism from this dude. And whether all he has is glimpses or he has a lot more that he hasn't shown us, I mean, regardless of that fact, I just feel like I saw him do that, and I'm like, you're too good for this tag team. And more importantly, even if not a tag team, you're too good for this hokey bullshit that you're doing with the drink out of the cup and this and that. Like, I want to put him in an Armani suit. I want to get some shades on him, And I want him to come out and talk about how he's the best thing to happen to NXT because he's just the best pure gifted athlete.
The number one draft pick.
What was that?
The number one draft pick.
The number one draft pick. Yes. The number one draft pick of NXT. And, you know, I just want to see him run with it.
The new face of the franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this dude, maybe this is going to be one of those busts that we look back on the podcast in a few years and it's like, man, can you believe we back that horse? But in this moment,
what, though? I don't necessarily think that this is us backing that horse as much as it is just us seeing that it's not working and how we would make it work if we had the option to do that.
Right. Yeah,
because I won't say like, oh, I'm a big fan of Montez Ford by any means. Like I see a lot of potential in him, but there have been a lot of people that we've seen a lot of potential in that didn't really amount to anything. And I think that Montez could be a big deal if he's handled correctly, but we also know that there are a lot of people that aren't handled correctly. And on top of all of that, what was the first thing that we said when we first saw Montez Ford? Oh, wow, he's got some almost like Ricochet level athleticism. Well, the genuine article's here now. So Montez might not even be around for that much longer.
But that's why we also said last week, and before I get into that $2 super chat for Quivall, basically what Roman was in NXT, I'd say like a lighter version of that. Yeah. But to me,
like Montez shouldn't be the LeBron James of NXT. He should be the Allen Iverson of NXT.
Oh, damn, son. But yeah, like, and again, I hate to drag Ricochet. Well, not really. I never hate to drag anyone, but like the dude, I just feel like he can't talk, and he doesn't really have like that personality factor that Montez could have if it was just kind of enclosed in on and controlled a little bit. Because right now it's a bit much, but if he would just refine it and dial it down, there is some fire there. I'm telling you, like I feel it. And this is a guy that, yeah, and if Ricochet, and here's the thing too, Montez may not even have to sweat because of the rumors that you and I have read that Ricochet may be a very quick 205 Live kind of call up, just kind of pat out that roster is true. Really, in my mind, and I don't mean this in an insulting way, I just mean from a logistic standpoint, Ricochet may very well just be keeping Montez's seat warm, you know, and then Montez could reclaim that spot. And then if he would, dude, I honestly, and this is both Johnny Scumbag and me just speaking sincerely in my belief in Montez, I just wanted to turn around and beat the shit out of Angelo Dawkins. like clock him in the fucking face. Angelo Dawkins looks at him. He's like, I thought we were going to start. And then before he can even do that stupid fucking miming, stirring it up, just kicks him right in the fucking dick and just like beats the shit out of him. And then takes that cup and just throws it on his face and says, I'm done with this. I'm done with it. God. And it's funny because I know Montez needs more time to grow, and you never want to throw a person into the deep end before they can swim, right? I feel like that's unnecessarily cruel in this business. And the same thing would be with Bianca Belair. But they're in developmental. So, like, if you're going to throw anybody in the deep end at anywhere, you might as well throw them in the deep end in a kiddie pool to begin with. So, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just my impatience, but I just look at this and I'm like, he's so much better than this. And I'm really not into it at all. So, yeah.
I think that assuming, and again, this is assuming because it's not guaranteed, there's a chance that it could go another way because maybe a call-up happens or maybe it's just not in the plans or whatever. But I think that if Aleister Black does end up winning the title, I think Montez Ford could be, as a heel, built up as a credible contender for him. He wouldn't beat him, but I think that it could be kind of like what they did with Eva Marie when she challenged Bayley. Build it up, make it into a big deal, have him challenge him on an episode of NXT, have a big contract signing, make a big deal out of everything, and then put on a solid match, make the guy look good, and obviously at the end of the day, we would have Aleister retain. But I still think that that's kind of where a heel Montez Ford, and especially if you pair him with Bianca as a valet, that's his ceiling in NXT, is credible NXT title contender.
Yes. Yeah. I think you put a really fine point on it. I think we can move on.
All right, man. Well, what's next?
Well, let me see. According to my notes, we had Adam Cole, baby! Versus Pete Dunne, and I love both these freaking guys. But you know what? Since I know that you were really able to take a comfortable seat on this one, I'm gonna have you take the reins on this particular segment since you were really able to give it the attention. So
yeah, commentary on this match kind of threw me off a little bit because there was a point when Pete Dunne was getting in the faces of O'Reilly and Fish, and I feel like it was Percy Watson talking about, oh, that's that inexperience of Pete Dunne getting up in their faces. He's not focused on the match. And Nigel was just like, oh, no, this is a part of his strategy. I'm kind of miffed that neither one of them mentioned the idea that Dunne is the freaking champion and has the champion's advantage. And if O'Reilly and Fish interfere, Dunne retains by default. Like, that could have very easily been a part of his strategy. And I appreciate Nigel for pointing that out. But he never mentioned the champion's advantage as being the reason why that could be a part of his strategy.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Like they went out of their way to say, like, oh man, Nigel went out of his way to say, like, no, this is all part of the plan. This is exactly what Dunne wants to be doing, without explaining why he would want to be doing that. It's like, no, he wants to be doing this because he's trying to stir the pot, because if O'Reilly and or Fish interfere, he gets to keep his title for free. He doesn't even need to beat Adam Cole. Adam Cole needs to beat him, not the other way around.
Yeah, exactly, partner. Exactly.
And at the end of the day, if they would have explained that in the moment, it would have paid off because O'Reilly and Fish did interfere and he did keep his title because of it.
Yeah. Before I get into my points that I want to make about this match, we got a $1.99 super chat from Wes, taking notes on all this and sending it to Triple H. Well, we greatly appreciate it, Wes. I love that you're such an enthusiastic fan of what we do. You're awesome, brother. Thank you. But what I wanted to say about what really made this match so wonderful for me, you know, besides Pete Dunne's brutal freaking style, and I love that this guy's only...
he threw a forearm in this match in the middle of the ring that sent Adam Cole into the turnbuckle.
Yeah, dude. Pete Dunne doesn't give a fuck. And I love him for that. He rocked Adam Cole's face, and that's what I need to talk about. Now, okay, I'm just going to get the joke out of the way early. You know what I loved about Adam Cole in this? Everything? Yes, everything. But the one thing I really wanted to spotlight, and he's been good at it for a few years, so this isn't a new thing. Dude, the guy can emote his fucking ass off.
Yeah.
Dude, there is nothing better I don't even mean this in a Johnny Scumbag way. It's just Adam Cole is such a complete performer. I love when he gets a near fall or like a plan didn't work, and he just has that face of like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. This day can't get any worse. And then it does, though. It does, though. His body language and his facial expressions in particular are top freaking notch. I'm telling you, man, I really hope that the rumors we hear about Vince loving Adam Cole are true, because it would be the best thing that bastard ever gravitated to in his 70-some-odd years of living. Like, Adam Cole is everything, and he made Dunne look so freaking good here. Like, when he got his fingers broken, he was just like, oh, God. Oh, he sold the pain just excellently. Dunne's a badass. I felt like, and that's the thing. I think Dunne's always been a badass, but to me, working with a heel like Cole that is as animated as he is and can play the chicken shit heel with such finesse, but never really looks bad in spite of it because he's Adam Cole, why wouldn't you want to protect that face? It makes Dunne look 10 times better. And I'm going to shut up now because I want to know like your more in-depth thoughts beyond like your preliminary remarks about this match, because I just love Cole really making Dunne look good here.
You know, out of all the things that I expected us to talk about tonight, I did not expect you to quote Bruno Mars talking about Adam Cole dripping in finesse.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even gotten that reference, but I'm sure plenty of people in our chat did. So good job. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, this match was fun. I wish it would have gone longer, but it makes sense that they would want to hold out until they have time to build to a bigger deal version of it where Adam Cole legitimately is like trying to win the title and we don't get the interference and that kind of stuff. Or maybe we do get interference and we make it a no DQ match. Or maybe just maybe right on the tapings for TakeOver New Orleans, when they tape the matches before the show that air on the NXT after the show, maybe we get the entire Undisputed Era versus British Strong Style.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That would be amazing. I would love that. I don't think we're going to get it, but it would be amazing. So yeah, man, this was, I'm just I love Adam Cole, and Dunn really, like, when I first saw Dunn, it was in PWG, and he didn't really do much for me. And then, like, holy shit, has he come along to the point that I absolutely love him now. And we got a $4.99 super chat from Storyteller West again. He said, Cole is still that rocket at the end of Nugget Bridge. God damn it. He's so much better than that scrub.
I feel like you as the spokesperson of the cult of Cole. It's just like, no, you will evaluate this man properly, damn it. Oh my god.
All right, we got another $5 super chat. This one from Javaris Carter. I used to not even like Pete Dunne, and then I watched Progress, and he is one of my legit favorites now.
Yo, as I've become, I feel like me and Brandon, that's kind of something that me and him bond over, because we follow Catch Wrestling on Twitter, which you guys should too, because I know they're a fan of the show, and they're an amazing account on the history of catch and stuff like that. And so, like, I've just been like re-looking at these guys with fresh eyes, and with Dunn, it's been like for a while now, so it's not new. But right. Yeah, he's so good at just taking that limb and this and that. Like, oh god, and again, to be that young, because isn't he only like what, 26?
Oh, are we talking about Pete Dunne? He's younger than 26.
24?
Yeah, he's 24.
I mean, just fucking insane. When I was 24, I was a nobody. And now, I mean, I still am, dude, but it's not about me.
Adam Cole's only 28.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, he's that good already.
I know. We have Adam Cole for so many more years. That's the best news that could have happened to the planet. But yeah, man, Pete Dunne's so freaking good. I was like you, we both encountered him in PWG. He didn't do much for me either. But there's something about, like, and he's another one where he really understands his character. And I appreciate that, because another positive thing, I think, coming out of this, like, youth movement that I keep talking about every once in a while when we look at the ages of these guys, it's not just that they can go in the ring. They really do understand, like, well, what's my character? And not only do they have a character, they understand it inside and out. And I think these two guys really epitomize that, because with Dunn, it's like, I am going to punch you in the face, but I am a lone wolf kind of guy. And no, not like a Baron Corbin type, but like, I only need myself because I'm good enough on my own to get the job done. And he isn't about respect or anything like that. He's just about doing the job he came to do. And, when the match gets broken up and thrown out and Roderick Strong makes the save and then Dunn rallies back and we get the two kind of claiming the ring for themselves, I love that moment where Roderick sticks his hand out, but Pete Dunne, he doesn't take it. I don't even know, like, he did some motion to Roderick. I touched him and then like pointed, but he didn't shake his hand. And I'm like, that's classic Pete Dunne. I love that when he had that big match with Tyler Bate that went well over time. Normally, you see the guys break kayfabe, they hug. We had an amazing match, man. Let's savor it. Pete Dunne, shrug. He's so good, dude. They both are. And these are the moments where wrestling is just so beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I don't really have anything else to add. So if we want to move on, I think we can now.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see what came after this. I believe, it was our main event, because I don't remember anything after Dunn Cole, and I didn't take any notes like after Dunn Cole. So I'm assuming that it was the contract signing, Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, because I was really sucked into that, which is probably why I didn't record it. So, yeah, a big contract signing. We already kind of talked about it a good bit in our first segment, because you did have a nitpick there. I really don't have much more to add. The only thing that we really didn't cover was, after Zelina talks all the shit that she does, and of course Aleister's smirking and making fun of the height and this and that, he says, oh, Zelina, I'm actually happy that you came alone because I didn't. Now, here's where I have the pickiest of nits. Now that I replay it back in my mind, I personally didn't like that Candice had her music hit and she came out the traditional way. I would have loved for the camera to linger on Zelina and being like, what are you talking about? Like, what you only came out here. And then Candice from behind, like, either stands behind Zelina if she really wants to attack her to her face, or just like comes from behind and just starts beating down on her. I felt like Candice coming out the traditional way for me, and again, this is the pickiest of nits, kind of took away a little bit from that foreboding of Aleister's words. And I feel like if they would have done it that way, it would have just been really just perfect to end the segment. But other than that, again, this is my favorite contract signing that NXT's done in a while. So what did you think about the whole Candice-Zelina skirmish?
Well, before we do get into what I thought about it, we got a $1.99 super chat from Storyteller West. Pete Dunne is a total thug, and I love it.
Absolutely, completely agree. Pete Dunne is amazing. But Ashton, back to you.
Yeah, kind of reframing the contract signing, knowing how important it is that Almas wasn't even out there, and realizing like, why would Alistair take this contract signing seriously if his actual opponent isn't even there? I love it. Under that context, I absolutely love it. That's great. We got a $2 super chat from Javaris Carter. I need British strong style in NXT. So do we, bud. And yeah, I absolutely love this contract signing. I love that Black, and I'm still not super high on the idea of him making actual short jokes. Like, it's kind of low brow for him, in my opinion. But I still love that he did like the sitting down, because that fits his character, because he already does that all the time. And then the now that I'm down on your level thing, that was appropriate. It was when he said that Almas was going to come up a little short, or that he was, he couldn't measure up to me. Like, those two lines I felt like were unnecessary and kind of took me out of it a little bit. But still, he brought it right back when he signed it. Zelina freaking out. You just made the biggest mistake of your life. Alistair walks out, gets on the mic, says, "Oh, and I'm glad you came alone because I didn't."
Yeah. And then what did you think about the whole Candice Zelina interaction? Because you already heard my pickiest and it's, but I did like it outside of that. What did you think?
Yeah, I hope we get them one-on-one at TakeOver. That's my whole thing. Like, if we keep getting these little beatdown segments and they only end up being in a person's corner at NXT, it's going to be a huge disappointment. I want a match between them, and I want it to be an official match. And I honestly, it would be nice if there were some stakes to it too. Even if it was like, oh, loser leaves NXT, and then Zelina and Almas both lose their matches, and we see them on Raw the next night. That would be incredible. Something along those lines. I want them to have a match. And dude, I think it's going to happen. I really do think it is going to happen. And that being taken into account, if that does happen, imagine this freaking NXT card. We've already seen the big new championship that's getting added, the North American title. That was posted on WWE.com, so we aren't spoiling anything when we say that there's going to be a 6-man ladder match for a North American championship involving Adam Cole, Velveteen Dream, Lars Sullivan, Killian Dane, and 2 debuting superstars, EC3 and Ricochet. That's going to be incredible. And we're going to be getting Black Almas, and I'm hoping we get some kind of unsanctioned street fight between Gargano and Ciampa. Those four, and Ember versus Shayna too. Like, this is the best looking a takeover card. It might as well be WrestleMania. Best looking takeover card I've ever seen. And we got another $5 super chat. This one from Javaris Carter. He said, yes, takeover is just shitting on Mania. We just need Gargano versus Ciampa. And I think we're going to get a Javaris. And I think it's going to be an unsanctioned street fight. And it's going to be freaking amazing. And I can't wait. And John, please interrupt me so that I don't have to keep on yelling.
Yes. No, the TakeOver New Orleans card. What I love about this card is that, first of all, the North American Championship, the ladder match, and you said WWE.com already listed the participants, right?
Yeah, WWE.com had an article up where they said that it was going to be a 6-man ladder match, and they listed all the people in it. So yeah, like it's exciting.
So yeah, Adam Cole, baby, in a ladder match. I mean, that just amazing.
Yes.
The NXT champion, like what?
Dude, Adam Cole is such a freaking workhorse. If he does what I think he's gonna do, and he ends up having that 3-on-3 match, Undisputed Era versus British Strong Style, and he's in that match, and we know Bobby Fish got injured, so there's a possibility that he'll team up with Kyle O'Reilly to take on the winners of the Dusty Classic. Good Lord, this man is a workhorse. That is unbelievable.
Which is why you should give Adam Cole the world.
Yes.
Oh my God, he's so good. But yeah, Adam
It almost
Cole
feels like a farewell tour too. He might be on Raw or SmackDown the next week.
Oh, dude. I'm just gonna say it right now. If he's on SmackDown, fuck you, Nakamura. Just give Adam Cole the championship. If he's on Raw, fuck you, Roman Reigns. Just give Adam Cole the championship.
We got a $1.99 super chat from Storyteller West. He just said you're welcome.
Oh, well. Thank you. So yeah, we got that. I'm telling you, and I said it at TakeOver. What was it, Philadelphia? Don't sleep on Andrade, because yeah, we're getting the ladder match. We're getting the culmination of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We're getting Shayna Ember. Actually, not the culmination, but the tag title match that results from the Dusty Classic. We're getting all this stuff, but Andrade's been on another level. Alistair is just, he's Alistair, you know, like Jesus Christ. This card, why can't WrestleMania be this? I am so much more hyped for this than I have been for Mania, and I'll give Mania credit. Well, actually, no, not even WWE or anything like that. I'll give John Cena credit because he got me interested in him versus Taker, and the IC title match has like workhorses in it, you know, with Miz, Seth, and Finn, and what they're doing with Braun seems intriguing, but like I'm still mad about it all, especially because we know it's going to be like, what, a 6+ hour paper? Like, Jesus Christ. But this, you know, it's only going to clock in at 2.5 hours, maybe a bit longer. And either way, the quality of the card, like, honestly, this feels like a modern day WrestleMania 17 with how stacked it is. And we just covered that show recently. Between the caliber of the world title match, the women's match actually blows Ivory and China out of the water. That goes without saying. You got a ladder match that you know is going to be insane and make some stars and break some stars and all that good shit. And like everything, I am so stoked for it. And I feel like the TV product, like they're checking all the right boxes. But to me, I feel like this is almost a takeover that takes care of itself. You know, I don't really need much substantive stuff done on television when I just see what's happening on paper. I'm just like, give it to me. So yeah, dude, it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. All right, man. I think the only thing we had left was actually, no, that was it. We already talked about the contract signing. We're talking about TakeOver. Let's get into our next segment.
High spots and low shots. I'm just going to say my low shot is Sabatelli and Moss, because despite the fact that you apparently share fancy suits and fancy cars, which that was never really established, you'll never be sharing NXT Tag Team Championship Gold, apparently, because you can't get your shit together, and you were knocked out of the first round of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So Sabatelli and Moss are my low shot.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that makes all the sense in the world. I think my low shot is going to have to be Lacey Evans, because look at how much shit you spoke, and then you lost. Congrats.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. My high spot, I hate to do this to you, brother. I hope I'm not taking anything away from you, but my high spot's got to be Dakota Kai. Loved her tonight. She, again, it was really 1A and 1B. I really loved how the contract signing came off. But the women, like, I actually gave a shit about the women's division, and I have, because, you know, Kyrie and all that stuff, but like legitimately, as far as narrative,
the inflection of your voice even changes when you say her name.
Yeah, I mean, but like outside of just being a performer, like I actually gave a shit about the women's division in terms of the narrative possibilities that opened up before my mind and booking and this and that because of Dakota Kai. I mean, that's the biggest compliment I can give any performer, is that they made me give a shit about an entire division simply because of the possibility they contain within themselves. So Dakota Kai did amazing tonight, beating Lacey Evans, and that's another reason too I can give it to her. She beat Lacey Evans, and she gave Shayna a bit of a receipt with the Kaio kick right to the head. So yeah, this is Dakota Kai's best night as an NXT performer by far, because I mean, you only really have to stack it up against her getting her arm fucking broken. So yeah. I have to give her this. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we got another $5 super chat from Javaris Carter. That's it. I'm resubbing to the network just for TakeOver. And my high spot is Aleister Black.
Yes.
He had a good performance. He cut a good, decent promo for the content that he was given. He was extremely emotive, which is a big part of these contract signing segments. We got a $2.16 super chat from Cliff Amal. Aleister's promo still seemed uncharacteristic. Yeah, those two lines about Andrade not being able to measure up and coming up short were uncharacteristic. The rest of his promo was good. I enjoyed the rest of it. And he signed the contract, which means that it is now official. He is Andrade's opponent at TakeOver New Orleans, so he's getting that title shot. It's official, and nobody else deserved a high spot tonight because everyone else that won a match had some negative about it. So, no, it's Aleister.
Yeah. I completely understand that, and yeah, I agree with that. I feel like there's nothing much I could ever. Well, oh yeah, Paulie McGregory mentioning that you didn't do your usual like praising of Adam Cole in the segment, but I feel like that's always.
I feel like we established so long ago he is my high spot on any show that he's on by default, and whatever high spot I name is the honorary high spot.
Yeah, everyone, do your proper readings and studies of all things Cole. But yeah, I feel like you put a nice little bow on it. Any concluding remarks about NXT tonight?
No, sir.
All right, guys, with that said, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my co-order commentary action. Guys, be sure to comment, subscribe, and like the video. The more likes you leave, the more likely we are to be the top search result for NXT reviews on YouTube. And when you're the best at what you do, the top is the only place that you belong. All right, guys, outside of liking the video, you already know all the media that we're a part of in the description box. We have our own separate Twitter handles. Follow both Ashton and myself. We have the TWitWoW Facebook page. Go and check that out. We have our Teespring store. You know we have everything from Scum Squad stickers to Braun t-shirts with "I'm not finished with you!" And, you know, just a whole litany of a whole assortment of merch that you guys should really look into. I know most recently we have the Tranquilo t-shirt, which I'm very proud of Ashton for making. It's a brilliant design, even though Naito unfortunately got knocked out a bit early in the New Japan Cup, which I still need to look at today's results when we get done here. But yeah, go and check out the Teespring. Obviously, guys, too, the Patreon is another big thing. If you haven't donated to the Patreon, please consider doing so. We always say that the best donation you can make is $3 because that gets you membership into the Discord, which is the most intimate experience that we offer our fans because we watch Raw and SmackDown together and we just kind of chill out. We talk about, you know, games, movies, shows. You know, Asia brings her personality. Cliff brings his, I guess, bagging turkeys for urchins. I don't know. I disowned him, so I don't really know what he does. Jarvera's, you know, doing his thing. So we got a lot of, like, hardcore TWitWoW fans in there doing their thing. It's an amazing time. I love being with you guys like that. And anybody that hasn't joined, it really is a wonderful experience. So please consider donating. If not for the warm and fuzzies, if you're like, fuck that, I don't have emotions. What about me? Well, we're thinking about you because if you donate $3 to the Discord and you maintain your membership, I always break down the formula. If you maintain your membership for 10 months, that's $30 on tap that you can cash in for a live reaction to a 3-hour show. Paul had saved up, you know, $56, I believe he donated to get his WrestleMania 17 live reactions, which we did yesterday, and the review, which will be coming tomorrow, but I'll get to that in a second. So, yeah, money accrues, and then you can translate that into content control. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So, yeah, if you guys want, you can donate. Now, to get to the stuff that I know we're all here for, for the rest of this week, I think we only have one more thing this week, and that is the WrestleMania 17 review, because Paul, with his generous donation, wanted both a live reaction and a review. But because of the major overrun of WrestleMania and you know, conflicts and stuff like that, we decided to make them two separate things on two separate days. We already have WrestleMania 17 live reactions. I suggest that you guys check that out, especially if you want to hear like my what Cliff has now called John McAltman, you know, my Vince McMahon impersonation. I had Ashton in stitches. It's probably the best my Vince has ever been or ever will be. So do check that out. I definitely think that was a big highlight. And we really just got to talk about what this WrestleMania, like how it changed the landscape and what we thought about it. I think we came away with glowing reviews of it, which you'll get to hear more in depth tomorrow. We go live with that at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so, yeah, that'll be Paul's WrestleMania 17 review. And then looking into the future, Q&A is March 29th. We do Q&A the last Thursday of every month. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Discord. Those are the mediums where you want to submit your questions. When you follow me on Twitter, the first thing you'll notice, guys, is a pinned tweet to receive Q&A questions. So if you want to submit questions, your best bet, really, as far as Twitter goes, is to have me handle them. Just submit them to me. Everybody's permitted up to 4 questions per Q&A if it's your first one. You can divide those questions up however you want. Generally, a lot of people just ask both of us one of their questions, so they get 2 perspectives at the price of 1 question. But your question might be specialized. One example that I've been using lately is, oh, hey, Ashton, what advice would you give me in structuring my fantasy football team for next season? Because he's a really big football guy and he's far more immersed in it than I am. Or, you know, if you're like me, a nerd, you could just be like, oh, John, I'm taking this intro to philosophy class. Can you explain to me Kantian deontological ethics? And yes, I understand what those words mean. So you could ask me that question. And yeah, so if you have specialized questions, that's fine too. Ask anything your heart desires, more or less. That's the beauty of Q&A. Again, that's Thursday, March 29th. Get those questions in. It's always a fun time, and I know you guys always deliver. So, with that said, I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining us for our NXT review. Thank you to all of us that came there from the Lucha Underground interview, which that is also on our channel now. an incredible experience. I still can't believe it happened. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. EST for WrestleMania 17 review. Until then, tune in and peace out.